In the mist-shrouded valleys of the Yorkshire Dales, where ancient stone walls snaked across emerald hills like veins of forgotten history, nestled a weathered farmhouse on the edge of Blackmoor Farm. The air carried the scent of damp earth and wild heather, a land as unyielding as the people who tilled it. Here lived Amelia Hawthorne, a widow of 40 whose spirit shone like the first light of dawn, soft hazel eyes framed by auburn waves streaked with silver, and hands calloused from years of tending roses that bloomed defiantly against the wind. She raised her son, Theo, alone after her husband vanished in a blizzard 10 winters past, his body never found. Theo, at 11, was a boy forged in quiet fire, tousled chestnut curls, freckles like scattered stars across his nose, and a gaze that held the depth of the moors, fierce, unblinking, carrying burdens far too heavy for his slender frame. Amelia's cough had started as a whisper in spring, blooming into a tempest by autumn. Tuberculosis, the village doctor muttered, shaking his head over a steaming cup of tea. Medicines were scarce, the nearest hospital a day's trek by cart over rutted lanes. Theo gathered herbs from the hedgerows, brewing teas that tasted of desperation, but her cheeks hollowed, her breaths ragged as torn sails. One fog-laden evening, as the sun bled crimson into the hills, Theo burst from their cottage, his woolen cap askew, boots caked in mud. "They've killed my mother. She's dying," he cried, his voice cracking like thunder across the hollow. The words tore through the dusk, raw and ragged, summoning shadows from the barns and cottages. Villagers peered from doorways, murmuring prayers, but fear rooted them. Plagues spread like gossip in these parts, and no one dared the risk. Theo ran to the heart of the village, Blackmoor Farm, domain of the Blackwood brothers. Victor Blackwood, the elder, was a colossus of a man, 6'5", broad as an oak, with a beard like tangled brambles and fists that could fell trees. At 45, he ruled the land with iron certainty, his fields yielding bountiful harvests that filled his coffers while neighbors scraped by. Victor's laugh was a bellow that shook rafters, born of a worldview where weakness was weeded out like thistles. Beside him, ever in the wings, was his younger brother, Julian, 35, slight and silver-tongued, with eyes like polished amber and a frame lean as a willow. Julian managed the ledgers, his gentle hands more at home with quills than plows, whispering counsel that Victor ignored. The brothers shared blood but little else. Julian's heart beat to the rhythm of old folk tales, while Victor's drummed the march of profit. Theo stumbled into the farmyard, collapsing against the barn door, his small chest heaving. Inside, by the flickering hearth, Victor lounged with a tankard, regaling farmhands with tales of bountiful yields. Julian sharpened a scythe nearby, the rhythmic scrape a counterpoint to his brother's roar. "Please, Uncle Victor," Theo gasped, tears carving rivers down his dirt-streaked face. "Mother, she's coughing blood. The doctor's too far. Your wagon, your horse. Take us to the clinic in York. I'll work it off, mend fences, anything." Victor turned, his massive frame eclipsing the firelight, eyes narrowing to slits beneath bushy brows. A slow grin split his face, revealing teeth yellowed by pipe smoke. The laughter erupted, a guttural quake that rattled the beams, echoing off the walls like mockery from the gods. "Killed her, eh, lad? By what? Ghosts or gremlins?" He slapped his thigh, the sound like a whip crack, drawing chuckles from the hands. "Your ma's been dancing with death since summer, boy. I offered her my tonic months back. Pig's fat and whiskey. She spat it out, prattled on about faith. Faith don't pay the ferryman. Crawl home and pray harder. Or sign on here, your skinny arms might scare the crows." The laughter swelled, a cruel wave crashing over Theo, who knelt frozen, fists clenched in the straw, sobs silent now, swallowed by shame. Villagers clustered at the gate, heads bowed, whispering, "Victor's right, Hawthorne's done for. Waste of a good horse." Theo's gaze pleaded with Julian, who sat statue still, blade poised midair, his face a mask of carved oak. The room held its breath, waiting for the younger brother's echo of scorn. But Julian rose, not with fury, but a quiet unfolding, like a fern uncurling at dawn. He set the scythe aside with deliberate care, crossing to Theo without a glance at Victor. Kneeling, he cupped the boy's chin, lifting it with fingers steady as roots. "Up, Theo," he murmured, voice soft as mist on heather. "We're going." No explanation, no flourish, just action, pure and profound. He shrugged off his woolen cloak, the one woven by their late mother with threads of sapphire and gold, draping it over Theo's shivering shoulders. It smelled of lavender and earth, a talisman against the night. Victor lurched forward, tankard slamming down, foam spilling like his rage. "The devil you are. That's my rig, my time. You simpering fool. After all I've done." His voice boomed, veins bulging like rivers in flood. The hands shifted uneasily, villagers gasping. Julian never spoke back, never defied the giant who had raised him from scraps. Julian turned then, and in his amber eyes burned not flames, but embers of ancient sorrow, deep, unquenchable. "Brother," he said, the word a bridge over chasms, "you laugh at a boy whose world crumbles. Remember our mother, coughing through those endless nights, her hands clutching yours for mercy, while you bartered the last you for seed that never grew. She faded alone, whispering your name, because you deemed her weak. I was Theo's age, silent in the corner. But tonight, no more." The words hung, heavy as harvest moons, stripping Victor bare. The room gasped. A hand crossed himself. Julian's voice, though quiet, resonated like a chapel bell, cracking the facade of the unbreakable man. Victor's mouth gaped, fury draining to pallor. He slumped, the colossus felled by memory's arrow. Julian wasted no more breath. He harnessed the bay mare himself, swift as shadow, lifting Theo onto the bench, then Amelia, swaddled in blankets, her breath's faint feathers against his neck. The wagon rattled forth into the fog, villagers parting like mist, their whispers turning to awe. "Julian," he spoke. Along the moonlit road, Julian sang, old ballads of the dales, of lost loves and found graces, his baritone weaving warmth into the chill. Theo clutched his mother's hand, whispering, "Hold on, Mama. The angels ride with us." The journey stretched eternal, hours over bog and bridge, the mare's hooves a drumbeat of defiance. At the clinic, lanterns flickered like hopeful stars. Doctors murmured, "Too late," but Julian bartered his heirloom watch, his mother's locket, jewels of gold for vials of elixir. Amelia stirred by dawn, color returning like roses after rain. "Who?" she breathed, seeing Julian's weary smile. "The brother who learned too late," he replied, "but acts in time." Back at Blackmore, dawn gilded the hills as the wagon creaked home. Victor waited at the gate, pitchfork in hand like a scepter of wrath, but his eyes, those stormy seas, held tempests quelled. Julian descended first, extending a hand scarred by quill and plow. "Victor, blood of my blood. I took no theft, only what mother left us, mercy." She dreamed of brothers as one, not wolves at throats. Victor's grip faltered, the fork clattering to stone. Shoulders that bore empires sagged. A tear traced his bramble beard. He clasped Julian, then Theo, rumbling, "Forgive this old bear, lad. I was blind as fog." From that dawn, Blackmore bloomed anew. Victor deeded acres to the hawthorns, his bellows now tales of triumph. Julian taught village children songs of the soul, his voice a balm. Amelia mended, her roses thriving, and Theo grew tall, his laughter echoing the moors. On misty eves, as winds sang through the walls, the boy recalled that night, laughter's lash, and a brother's step that healed the world. Life, like the dales, is rugged and raw, winds that whip, soils that cling. Yet in its heart, mercy rises, a quiet force that topples giants and mends the broken. For in standing for the fallen, we reclaim our own light, eternal as the heather's bloom. Thank you for watching this story till the end. Sparkles, if it touched your heart, please support us. Thumbs up, give it a like. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Bell, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and make you believe in miracles. Your participation means a lot to us.